Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Rajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yo Mishpat Paramams Paribhajacharya Shri Srimad Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya BBT Founder Acharya Jagat Guru Savior of the whole world Patit Pavan Srila Prabhupada Ki Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Harinam Sankirtan Mahayagna Ki Nitai Gaur Premanande Sudeva Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Shaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, text number 14. Sarvam kala krutam manye Sarvam kala krutam manye Bhavatam chayad apriyam Bhavatam chayad apriyam Sapalo yad vashe loko Sapalo yad vashe loko Vayur iva ghana valihi Vayur iva ghana valihi Sarvam kala krutam manye Sarvam kala krutam manye Bhavatam chayad apriyam Bhavatam chayad apriyam Sapalo yad vashe loko Sapalo yad vashe loko Vayuriva ghanavalihi Vayuriva ghanavalihi Sarvam, all this, Kala Kritam, done by inevitable time. Manye, I think, Bhavatam cha, for you also, Yat, whatever, Apriyam, detestable, Sapalaha, with the rulers, Yat Vashe, under the control of that time. Lokaha, everyone in every planet. Vayoho, the wind carries. Iva, as Gana Avalihi, a line of clouds. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In my opinion, this is all due to the inevitable time under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as the clouds are carried by the wind. Purport. There is control by time all over the space within the universe, as there is control by time all over the planets. All the gigantic planets, including Sun, are being controlled by the force of air, as the clouds are carried by the force of air. Similarly, the inevitable Kala or time controls even the action of air and other elements. Everything therefore is controlled by the Supreme Kala, a forceful representation of the Lord within the material world. Thus, Yudhishthira should not be sorry for the inconceivable action of time. Everyone has to bear the actions and reactions of time as long as one is within the conditions of the material world. Yudhishthira should not think that he had committed sins in his previous birth and is suffering the consequence. Even the most pious has to suffer the condition of material nature, but a pious man is faithful to the Lord, for he is guided by the bona fide Brahmana and Vaishnava following the religious principles. These three guiding principles should be the aim of life. One should not be disturbed by the tricks of eternal time, even the great controller of the universe. Brahmaji is also under the control of that time. Therefore, one should not grudge being thus controlled by time, despite being a true follower of the religious principles. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Akshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Please repeat. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time. under whose control everyone in every planet is carried just as the clouds are carried by the wind. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramanandamatavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram. Hare Krishna. Thank you for inviting me. Very happy to be here. So in today's verse we are seeing that Bhishma Dev is playing the role of an elderly head of the family and is very affectionately, lovingly basically consoling Yudhishthira, the Pandavas and Kunti. He's consoling them because Yudhishthira has been besieged by so many tragedies. Of course, he first lost his kingdom, then so many other things happened and he had to fight a battle for which he was not very, very keen. We can see that even in the case of Arjuna, he was not very, very keen on fighting this battle, but it's a different matter that Krishna eventually convinced Arjuna to fight this battle after he spoke what is now today known as the Bhagavad Gita. Yudhishthira by nature is a very gentle, very mild, very soft personality, very kind, forgiving, compassionate personality. And for such a man to take up arms and fight against his own kinsmen, against his own cousins and friends and relatives and uncles and nephews and like that, fathers and uncles, like that, was a very painful thing to do. But nevertheless, Yudhishthira, under the orders of Krishna, undertook this battle, also known as the Battle of Kurukshetra. Though he was not very, very eager or anxious, but there didn't seem to be any other way, and hence Yudhishthira participated in that battle. So in that battle, practically everybody on both sides were wiped out, except a handful of people on the side of the Kauravas. Krutavarma, Krupacharya, Ashwathama, like that. Ashwathama, like that. Otherwise, practically everybody else were wiped out. And same is the case on the side of the Pandavas also. Very few survived this battle. So it was extremely painful because now Yudhishthira had to rule this kingdom and practically every day he had to be with his elders, that is Gandhari and Dhritarashtra. Now imagine you killed all their sons, 100 sons, and now he's there in the palace along with you and he's elder to you and he's your father's brother and having to live with him and meet him every day and so on. Yudhishthira, by nature such a mild and gentle person, was very regretful of the actions that he had performed. In fact, he thought that it is appropriate for him to go and apologize to Dhritarashtra for what has happened. Oh, I'm so sorry that I had to kill your sons. And because of me they died, because of me they were killed, because I wanted the kingdom, I forcefully engaged in this battle and they died. So kindly forgive me. That was Yudhishthira's mood. But then you see, that is a glorious part, that's typically the mood of a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is gentle, Vaishnava is forgiving, Vaishnava is very compassionate, Vaishnava is very generous. Vaishnava is, of course, at the same time very dharmic also. but he's also very generous and very soft. So a battle of this nature doesn't come easily for a Vaishnava. And Yudhishthira was always feeling guilty that maybe he's doing the right thing, maybe he's overreacting, maybe he's become very aggressive, whatever. And then one of the most painful thing for all the Pandavas was that at their hands, many of the people that they worshipped, they had to kill. Primarily Dronacharya. Dronacharya also had to be killed by the Pandavas. And Pandavas had to use some trick to kill Dronacharya. Same way they had to use some trick to neutralize Bhishma Deva. So in both cases, they had to resort to some trick in order to kill Dronacharya, in order to neutralize Bhishma. So that was one more reason why they were feeling a little awkward and guilty. And so it is in this frame of mind that all of them go to meet Bhishma Deva after the battle is over. They are feeling very regretful, very guilty, very like that, ashamed at what has happened. And it's in this frame of mind they go to meet Bhishma Deva, take the audience of Bhishma Deva. And Bhishma Deva is no ordinary person. Bhishma Deva is a Mahajana, is a great personality, an authority on everything. Bhishma Deva is like a authority, in everything. In governance, in dharma, in bhakti, everything. Bhishma Deva was such a great authority. So, but now he is lying on a bed of arrows and awaiting death. I think everybody could understand that the moment for his passing away has more or less come. So it is mentioned in this chapter that when the Pandavas go to meet Bhishma Deva, that along with them, Shri Radha Madhava, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramai, Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Along with them, some of the greatest acharyas of the world, contemporary acharyas of the world were present. It's like the who's who of the spiritual, contemporary acharyas, rishis, Vedavyasa, Sukadeva, Vashishta, Dhaumya, like that. So many great personalities had come there because it was a very historic event, Bhishma Deva passing away. All of them were present, and the Pancha Pandavas were also there. And the crowning glory of that moment was Krishna was personally present. Krishna was personally present because Bhishma is a very, very dear devotee of Krishna. And Krishna, in a very generous show of reciprocation for Bhishma, chose to be present. In fact, he goes along with the Pandavas. It is said that he rode the same chariot as Arjuna, and together they went to meet or have darshan of Bhishma Deva on the bed of arrows. Krishna is also present. And there, sitting a little distance away, the Pandavas were very, very regretful that looking at the pitiable state of Bhishma. Actually, that state was a result of arrows that Arjuna unleashed. He had to lie down on a bed of arrows. And as soon as they see Bhishma Deva, it is said that Bhishma Deva was so moved and he had tears of ecstasy in his eyes as soon as he saw all this great assemblage of rishis, munis, Pandavas. And then, of course, as soon as he saw Yudhishthira, and then because as soon as he saw Krishna was personally present. So in that conversation, Bhishma is consoling Yudhishthira. He's pacifying Yudhishthira. He's telling Yudhishthira, I can imagine how you're feeling right now. But my advice to you is that don't blame yourself. Because Yudhishthira was blaming himself for everything that happened. So Krishna says, Bhishma says, don't blame yourself. You're not responsible. You're not really, or shall we say, you're not entirely responsible for what has happened. You're a devotee, you're a person of great character. And don't think that it is in any way connected to your previous karma or something that you suffered so much. Bhishma also not only expresses his point of view, but he also pacifies Yudhishthira and says that don't ever think that what you went through was because of your bad karma or sins or something that you did in this or previous life. You're all devotees, and as is true in the case of pure devotees, devotees are always protected by Krishna. Because of the strength of their purity and bhakti, they don't have any karmic reaction left. And they're very pure souls, they're very blessed, they're very pure souls. What to speak of karma of the devotees? In the scripture it is mentioned that wherever a devotee goes, whoever meets a devotee, his karma also can go away. Practically, a devotee is known as a walking tirtha yatra, tirthasthal or something, not yatra, tirthasthal. In other words, a devotee is so pure, so committed in his devotional service, so focused in his bhakti, that there is no question of a devotee being entangled by karmic reaction, a pure devotee of the Lord. But the devotee is so empowered that he can actually wipe out the karma of anybody who comes and has his darshan, touches his lotus feet, sprinkles the dust of his lotus feet, or drinks the charanamrut that has washed his lotus feet. Like that, even they become free of karma. So what to speak of devotee having karma? He can free the karma of this whole world, whole universe. Simply by his merciful glance, a devotee can free the whole universe from karma. That's how powerful and how glorious a devotee is. So there is no such thing, no question of you suffering because of your karma. Either now or before this, either now in this because you're feeling so regretful, nor previously when you suffered. It is not because of you or your bad karma or sinful activity. You're so pure, you're so dedicated. Then what is the reason? So Bhishma is beginning to answer that. So what's the reason for all this? Bhishma says kala. Bhishma says time. Time. Actually two things. Time, and because you all agreed to become instruments in the hands of the Lord. You all agreed to become, lovingly, voluntarily agreed to become instruments in the hands of the Lord. So the Lord engaged you in performing different leelas. And so it has nothing to do with karma. Actually it is your glory that you agreed to become instrument and you have cooperated with the will of the Lord. Kala means, Prabhupada says, a forceful energy of the Lord. Forceful energy of the Lord, which means Kala cannot be countered easily. You can counter karma, you can counter so many things, but you can't counter Kala so easily. So, forceful energy of the Lord. So, you cooperated with the Lord's will, Lord's plan, Lord's mission, whatever. At all stages, all the time in your life, very lovingly, very voluntarily you cooperated with the will of the Lord. And hence you became instruments in the will of the Lord. And it is not because of your karma. It has nothing to do with your karma. Rather, it has to do with manifesting of Krishna's pastimes. It is your glory that you agreed to become part of Krishna's Leela, assisting, supporting Krishna's Leela. This is your glory. This is an occasion to celebrate your dedication, your surrender, your faith, your unquestionable faith or unquestioning faith. Neither is your faith questionable, nor did you question Krishna at any point of time. You didn't question Krishna, nor can your faith be questioned. In that sense, it's an indication of it's a glory, it's a victory. It's a great achievement that you all cooperated with the will of the Lord, and whatever has happened because of the inevitable force of time. And Vishwadeva is saying, what is it in this world that does not run as per time? All events of all planets, everyone, everywhere is subjected to the forceful influence of time. Nobody is exempt. So are you. But there's a difference. That does not mean that Yudhishthira and those who are not devotees are influenced by the time in the same manner. No, there's a huge difference. Yudhishthira is a dear devotee of Krishna. So every second he is protected by Krishna. He is engaged by Krishna. He is given the necessary intelligence, protection, engagement, everything by Krishna personally. Personally. That's not so in the case of non-devotees. They are forced, though they are not willing to, they are forced by the inevitable energy called Kala. They don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. Because that Kala acts in consonance with karma. Karma and Kala act together and subject the non-devotees to very variety of changes in their life. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes very, very bad. But very little, the person who is being subjected to Kala and Karma together has no choice, no option except to undergo. That's not the case of Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira voluntarily offered himself as an instrument, as a loving, unconditional instrument in the hands of the Lord. There's a huge difference. So Bhishma Deva is saying, you are one such great soul that offered to cooperate with the plan of the Lord by unconditionally and selflessly surrendering to the will of Krishna. So in your case, you're guided constantly by Krishna. You're guided, you're used, you're engaged, you're protected by Krishna. So if something has happened in your life and something has happened because of you, you should understand that there is the hand of Krishna behind it. This is something that Krishna wanted. Something that Krishna wanted to achieve, and hence he has engaged you. So this is the fundamental principle of devotional service. Devotional service is not necessarily that we do, of course we do bhakti, but the higher levels of understanding of bhakti is that we become instrument in the hands of Krishna. In other words, a devotee dissolves completely his personal preferences, likes, dislikes. Likes, dislikes, preferences, ideas. He says, whatever Krishna says, that is what I will follow. Whatever Krishna wants, that is what I will do. Whatever Krishna desires, it will automatically become my wish too. So he dissolves himself into the will of Krishna at all points of time, unconditionally. A devotee does not, in other words, his service is not conditional. If you do this, I will do this for you. No. He says, I don't want you to do anything for me. Prabhupada mentions, this is one of those very rare philosophical points that Prabhupada elaborates. Very rare. Not spoken about so much in other scriptures. In the purports of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada writes that even if Krishna or Lakshmi were to come and say, oh, you have done so much service, this is what we want to give you, a devotee would turn around and say, no, please, I'm not doing anything in anticipation of something from Krishna. Don't link my service with some reciprocation from Krishna. I'm doing something for Krishna because this is what I want to do. This is what I have come to realize, that I am an instrument in the hands of Krishna. I am servant of Krishna. I want to serve Krishna. And by the way, because I also love him. I love Krishna. Or I want to, or I am a servant of Krishna, and so this is what I should be doing. Why should I be rewarded or reciprocated? This is what I should be doing. I exist in order to serve Krishna. I exist in order to serve Krishna. And that is what I want to do. And why should this be rewarded? I exist for Krishna's pleasure. I exist for Krishna's service. My existence is all about giving pleasure to Krishna. So why should I exist for that purpose, and where is the question of wanting to be reciprocated for something that I anyway ought to be doing? That's the mood of a devotee. That's the glory of a devotee. And the glory of Krishna is that he wants the devotee to be glorified, devotee's qualities to be glorified. The glory of the devotee is his unconditional surrender to Krishna. And to what extent does a devotee go? That is interesting. To what extent does a devotee go? The devotee is willing to go to any extent to please Krishna, even if it means that he personally has to undergo hardships. If that is what is Krishna's plan, a devotee would accept that. Like the Pandavas, for instance, Bhishma Deva is saying, you went through so many difficulties that I'm surprised that you made it alive. I mean, there was this Duryodhana who was constantly working, trying to see that you're killed. And you had so many mishaps happening in your life that I'm surprised that you're all alive and together, and then you're nice and you're carrying on, etc. Even now, today, it's a big surprise to me that you serve. So a devotee will go to any extent in order to serve Krishna. Any extent means even to the extent of having to take some difficulty. Any difficulty for that matter, in the service of Krishna and Guru. Which is why the devotee is glorious. Which is why Krishna also goes to such a long distance in order to protect the devotee, Krishna also tries to glorify the devotees. Now, what better proof do we need that Krishna will go to any extent to glorify the devotees, other than that Krishna is personally present when Bhishma Deva is leaving this body. He is personally present. He's brought, and he arranged it in such a way that all the great acharyas of that time, contemporary acharyas, were present there. The Pandavas, who were very dear to Bhishma Deva, were present there. Krishna is standing right there. And Krishna does this many times. Even before the time for his passing away comes, Krishna actually takes the Pandavas and tells them, because before Yudhishthira becomes the king, he asks Krishna, I need some advice, I want to know how to be a good king. A good king in Yudhishthira's perspective is a king who is pleasing to Krishna, who upholds dharma, pleases Krishna and protects bhakti in the society and so on. So Krishna says there's no better person than Bhishma who can instruct you. Come, let's go and ask these questions to Bhishma. Krishna could have spoken, but he didn't. He says, come, let's go and ask Bhishma. So Krishna shares a very deep relationship of appreciation of Bhishma. Krishna appreciates Bhishma. Krishna recognizes the special qualities of Bhishma. Krishna recognizes special qualities of every single devotee, not just Bhishma. Every single devotee who goes out of the way to sacrifice or to serve Krishna with additional, shall I say, purity and determination and focus and humility, Krishna recognizes them. In the process here, Krishna is also recognizing the glory of Yudhishthira and the Pandavas, not just Bhishma. So Krishna recognized Bhishma. He says, come, let's go, and you ask all these questions to Bhishma, and that is what became what is known as the Shanti Parva of the Mahabharata. That is Bhishma's instructions to Yudhishthira in the presence of Krishna. Bhishma is very surprised. He says, why are you asking me? You can ask Krishna. Then Krishna says, no, I brought them to you. I brought them to you. You answer. I want to hear you speak. You have been such a strong adherent of dharma and bhakti. It's so nice. It's so relishable for me to hear you speak about the principles of bhakti and dharma and how you practice them and how they should be understood, how a king should practice them. I want to hear from you. So Krishna likes devotees who are pure, dedicated, focused and selflessly serving him. like Bhishma did, like the Yudhishthira did, like the Pandavas did. So that became the famous Shanti Parva, where Bhishma is instructing Yudhishthira, Yudhishthira asking questions and Bhishma is instructing. Now today, what we are seeing in today's verses, we are coming to a time when Bhishma is about to leave this world. Everybody is there. All the glorious people are there. They're actually come out of curiosity to see what will be the reciprocation between Bhishma and Krishna. What will Krishna do? How is Krishna going to act? How will Krishna recognize and reward and glorify Bhishma? And in what manner will Bhishma offer his reiterate his unconditional surrender to Krishna? So they've all come to witness. See, spiritual life is not only about philosophy. Spiritual life is also about relationships and loving reciprocation. Nobody can love the devotees as much as Krishna does. Nobody. Look at the way he has handled he comes personally. He's there. At the time his glorious devotee is passing away. His very presence makes the whole atmosphere so purifying and ecstatic for everybody. Sukadeva Goswami, Vyasadeva, Vasishta and so on. Practically so many people are just waiting, bated breath like they say, to see what happens between Krishna and Bhishma. What happens between the two of them. So Krishna, in the process of glorifying Krishna, Bhishma Deva also mentions that, my dear Lord, you're so loving. You're so unfailingly careful about taking care of the welfare of your devotees. Anything could have gone wrong in the lives of the Pandavas, but you were always there, guiding them, protecting them from all kinds of situations. Personally guiding them, personally protecting them, personally instructing them. Mahabharata, the early part, actually even the later part also, is all about how Krishna personally protected his devotees, the Pandavas. Personally. Not handed over the protection of Krishna, the devotees to somebody. He personally comes, he personally protects, he personally is there. And it is in the context of the Pandavas that devotees, we say that Krishna was protector, Krishna was guide, Krishna was the friend. It is in the context of his relationship with the Pandavas we say that Krishna was well-wisher. Krishna was the messenger. Krishna was actually in many ways servant of the Pandavas, messenger of the Pandavas, caretaker of the Pandavas. He didn't outsource this to somebody. He did it all himself. He did it all himself, lovingly. And he was there at all various points of important events in Yudhishthira's life. Because the Pandavas agreed to become unconditional instruments in the hands of Krishna. So he was there at all points of time. As soon as he comes to know that Yudhishthira wants to do the Rajasuya Yagya, Krishna comes from Dwarka with bundles of, caravan of gold and silver and silk and carpets and weapons and like that. Sapphires and rubies and diamonds and pearls and like that. He brings all of that and gives to Yudhishthira and says, this is my humble offering. I know doing a Rajasuya Yajna can be quite expensive nowadays. It's pretty expensive. So here is my humble contribution. And by the way, if there's anything else you want, let me know. And I will be here, let me know how I can serve. I'll be here till this Yagya is over. Engage me in whatever way you like. Krishna is telling Yudhishthira. Krishna is telling Yudhishthira, I just heard that you're doing this. You can imagine how the Pandavas will react. Pandavas had tears in their eyes and they said, my dear Lord, you're like the light of the eyes, you're like the sound of the ear, you're like the oxygen we breathe, or whatever. They said, you're everything for us. And we feel so embarrassed that we are engaging you in this. And Krishna says, no. It's my pleasure, I love this. What else is there for me to do other than glorify my devotees? And then That is the reciprocation. That is the degree of love that Krishna has for his devotees. Actually, in the whole of the Mahabharata, it's extremely interesting to see the conduct of the Pandavas with Krishna, Vidura with Krishna, Kunti with Krishna, especially Arjuna with Krishna, Yudhishthira with Krishna, Draupadi with Krishna, whole of the Mahabharata, and of course Bhishma Deva with Krishna. These are the key relationships that are portrayed in the Mahabharata. Of course, Krishna also meets Karna occasionally. Krishna meets Dhritarashtra also. But that kind of a relationship is a little different. His relationship with Dhritarashtra and his with Kunti is very, very different. And he also meets Karna a few times. Krishna tries to rescue Karna. He tries his best to rescue Karna. In fact, Krishna is the one who broke the news to Karna saying, "You're not Radheya, you're Kaunteya," to Karna. Out of love for Kaunteya, out of love for Karna. Doesn't quite work out the way he expected. But Krishna is there. So these are the foundational relationships that are portrayed in the Mahabharata, showcased. Krishna with Kunti, starting from Krishna with Kunti, and then to the children, then to Vidura. Vidura, of course, goes all along the entire Mahabharata. You can see Krishna's interaction with Vidura and Bhishma. Because there is loving exchange. They love Krishna and Krishna loves them equally. Whether it's in the forest, Draupadi is helpless because, what's his name? Durvasa was supposed to come. Draupadi becomes so helpless and Krishna comes to her rescue. Or much later in the battlefield, when Krishna at every stage comes out with a plan how to save the Pandavas and neutralize the Kauravas. Every stage. So Mahabharata is exciting because there's Krishna. The Krishna factor is there at all instances. So that Krishna is now in front of the Pandavas and Bhishma. And at a very historic moment when Bhishma Deva is getting ready to leave this world, give his final instructions and getting ready to leave this world. And some chosen incidents from the Mahabharata find their mention in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Find their mention in the Srimad, not all. Like for example, Kunti's prayers to Krishna. Kunti's prayers to Krishna. Like for example, how Krishna rescued Parikshit. So those incidents are carried into the Srimad Bhagavatam because they demonstrate a much higher principle of loving exchange between devotee and Krishna. A principle of, complete protection being offered by Krishna. 360 degrees, you could say, being offered by Krishna to the devotees. That's there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of the loving exchanges that can happen between Krishna and his devotees, picked up from various scriptures, primarily the primarily the Mahabharata, and something from the Ramayana, something from other Puranas. So, we're showcasing the love that Krishna had for his devotees. So, Bhishma Deva is consoling the Pandavas, is saying, behind everything that is happening now is the hand of Kala. And the will, Kala is nothing but the will of Krishna. The hand of Kala and the hand of Krishna are synonymous. They're the same. So here now we are seeing Kala is acting. So don't be bewildered, don't be shocked. Don't feel guilty too much. Just understand that something is happening as per the will of Krishna. No, that doesn't mean that the Vaishnava will just wash his hands off and say at all points of time, I don't know, something is happening because of Kala and Krishna's will. No, he won't do that. He will never do that. Vaishnava is always Vaishnava. Vaishnava is always cautious. Vaishnava is always careful. Vaishnava is always gentle. Vaishnava is always generous. He won't say, this happened because of will of Kala and Kala, force of Kala and will of the Lord. No, you will never see. Vaishnava is always expressing regret. Even after the passing away of Bhishma Deva, Yudhishthira would still go to Dhritarashtra and still apologize. It's because of me you lost all your sons. So kindly forgive me. Yudhishthira would still be Yudhishthira. Like that, Vaishnava would not immediately jump and now change everything and say, okay, now I'm the instrument of Krishna, so you can't find faults with me or something like that. You can't find a statement like that from any Vaishnava in any scripture. In any scripture. That is the reason why Vaishnavas are exceptionally glorified. Others will tell about them, but they would never give themselves a certificate saying, I'm an instrument of Krishna, so now just I can do no wrong and no wrong can ever happen from me or something like that. No. There will always be gentle, mild, soft, careful, cautious. And when Dhritarashtra leaves the palace and goes away, Yudhishthira is crying. He says, did he go away because I didn't treat him well? He doesn't say that, I'm not guilty, this happened because of Krishna, don't blame me. But he says, did he go away because he went away because of pain, or he felt insulted, or I didn't take care of him properly? What will he do at this age in the forest? He went away. So a devotee is always wedded to his principles of gentleness, loving, caring, etc. He won't give up on those things. So, here is a very unique moment in the Bhagavatam first canto, where Krishna has come to glorify Bhishma, and Bhishma is so happy that he can glorify Krishna. So, that's what makes the Bhagavatam very interesting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Krishna, any questions, comments?
For our pleasures and pains, so far we have been thinking that it is the cause behind this is karma. And now another factor has introduced Kala. So in our personal life, how we can take this Kala and try to understand the effect of Kala.
Oh, okay. How do we understand the effect of Kala in our personal life? Yeah, in the case of pure devotees, it is irrevocably established that everything is happening because of the will of Krishna as per Kala. Kala is actually manifesting the will of Krishna in a particular sequence, manifesting the will of Krishna in a particular sequence. That's a function of Kala. Oh, what about in our lives? You see, the scriptures say that in our lives we should look at Kala as an energy that teaches us, or shall we say, an energy of the Lord which forces us to think, introspect, etc. Introspect means, why is this happening in this particular way? Where did I go wrong? Maybe I was very envious, maybe I was very jealous, maybe I was very arrogant, maybe. So until we reach the level of highest levels of purity, whatever happens in our life is for self-purification. Maybe I was not sufficiently dedicated. Maybe I was very casual in performing my duty, or Maybe I just took some relationship for granted. Maybe I was a little offensive. Like that. Everything that happens in the life of an aspiring devotee, sadhaka bhakta, is Krishna's mercy to reveal to us something somewhere where there is need for some change, some improvement. Of course, sometimes things happen because Krishna shows how he's pleased with us also. Occasionally, he does show that. But generally, time is a teacher in an active devotee's life. So when something happens as per time, we should not criticize, we should not find fault. First, introspect. When something happens in our life, please understand that we are the major contributors to what has happened. It is not somebody else. Someone has scolded you. You may think it's happened unfairly. But we have to think that maybe I did this many times in the past, getting heavy on somebody. So it's happening to me. The first thing is, when something happens, we don't react in a very passionate way. Nor do we assign blame on somebody. Why did this happen? He's at fault. He shouldn't have done this. We think, we reflect, maybe I did that, maybe it's coming back to me, maybe there's something for me to learn. There's always something for us to learn. There's always something for us to learn in everything that happens in our life. So time is a teacher. Time is like a mirror. It's like holding a mirror on yourself and seeing where you stand with respect to envy, lust, greed, pride, arrogance, fault-finding nature, criticizing nature, anger. Time holds a mirror. There was no need for you to become so angry and wild, but we became. So time holds that, shows to us, hey, you still need to work on this. Or laziness, neglect, callousness in duty. Many things time shows. And sometimes, of course, when we are really nice, when the time also shows that someone appreciates you for your efforts, then we thank Guru and Krishna for giving us the right intelligence. Time is an energy of the Lord that helps us purify ourselves. So we should be grateful to time. We should never criticize. Sometimes time has a different function. Time increases one's renunciation. Oh my God, this world is crazy. This world is dangerous. I never thought this is what would happen to me, this is what would happen, whatever. So it helps us gain renunciation from this material world. Of course, time is also an instrument of the Lord by which our karma is given back to us. Our karma is given back to us. But of course, in a very mild way, scriptures say, in the case of a devotee, karmic reactions are very mild. Time is a very great role in our devotees, in involving, or shall we say, in the evolution of a devotee. Time has a huge role to play. Provided we are gentle, we stop blaming time or anybody except ourselves. The first thing we do is we take the responsibility ourselves and say, I am responsible for what has happened. Now let me see where I went wrong. What did I do that some previous karma has come? So just take it gracefully. Pray to Krishna. Getting some bad karma does not mean the end of life or something. Good also can happen afterwards. Bad can actually turn into good if a devotee takes it in the right spirit. There's nothing called bad actually in this material world. Everything can be, from a spiritual perspective, everything can be turned to a devotional benefit. Anything that happens, we can turn it to a devotional benefit. So in an absolute sense, nothing is bad. Either we develop renunciation, we develop more faith, or we lose attachments, or something like that. Time. Okay? Good question. Hare Krishna. Any other question?
One question, so you rightly mentioned that everyone in every planet is being carried away by time, just like how clouds are being carried in the wind. So, if you want to transcend time, or if you want to diminish your bad karmas or good karmas, they say it actually when you realize yourself, when you elevate yourself from body consciousness to Krishna consciousness, that is where you can defeat your karma, whether it is good or bad, or you can also transcend time. So your thoughts on this?
So you're asking how one can transcend time.
Correct. No, they say actually when you elevate yourself from the level of body consciousness to Krishna consciousness, you can actually transcend time, and you can also diminish your karmas, whether it is good or bad. So you basically surrender yourself.
Correct.
So that's what your comments and thoughts. Hare Krishna.
So if we are careful to understand, and we understand or we think that whatever is happening, I have a big role to play. It's also happening because of my karma, because Krishna wants me to learn, Krishna Guru wants me to learn something. And what is it I can learn? And whatever be the new situation I am in, let me see how I can rededicate myself in the change situation because of some change that has happened because of time and karma. Let me become more dedicated in my new situation. And let me offer whatever is remaining in my hands or whatever more that has come because of karma or kala back in the service of Krishna. It may be less or it may be more as per effects of kala and karma. I may have more, I may have become a bigger person, whatever materially, etc. I offer everything to Krishna. So Krishna speaks about the principle of satisfaction. So when Prithu Maharaj was planning to do the 100th yajna, that would have qualified him to become Indra. And Indra comes and steals the horse, because Indra is worried that he'll lose his position. And obviously, Prithu Maharaj becomes angry with Indra. And he sends some people to catch Indra. And Indra has run away, gone into hiding, whatever. So Prithu Maharaj wants to do the 100th yajna, which will qualify him to become Indra. Indra is worried that if Prithu Maharaj does, I may lose my post. So Krishna brings Indra to Prithu Maharaj and tells Prithu Maharaj, why are you not satisfied with what you have? You're the ruler of this whole world. Why you want to now snatch something from Indra's hands? Why? What is the reason? Why you don't want to learn to be satisfied? Can't you be satisfied with whatever comes on its own accord materially? Why you become so aggressive, so ambitious, so greedy that you want to snatch something from Indra's hand? That is not the mood and approach of a devotee. I expected much more better things from you. And he tells Prithu Maharaj, now you please kindly forgive Indra. See how much anxiety and fear he's having. Forgive him, let him go. And then you learn about how temporary everything in this material world is temporary. Krishna is actually chastising Prithu Maharaj and not Indra. So, in the same manner, we have to understand that whatever is happening, Krishna is doing something. Krishna is actually being favorable to me. Even though something may externally be appearing unfavorable, it's actually a blessing in disguise for me. Maybe I'm too proud or something like that. So a devotee is always attributing everything to Krishna's mercy, saying it's very kind that Krishna has removed some power, authority, money from me. Maybe I would have misused it, like that. See, it's a loving transaction. It's not that devotee feels pain. Oh, I'm supposed to tell myself that because I would have become proud, so not to say me, Krishna took it away. No, devotee feels maybe someone else wanted it, Krishna took it from me and gave him. It's fine. Krishna can do whatever he likes. It's a relationship of trust and love. Actually, when we have that level of trust and love, we have transcended not only kala, we have transcended karma, we have transcended three modes of nature, we have transcended everything in this material world. We have transcended all the weaknesses, lust, greed, envy, anger. If we believe in Krishna, we have faith in Krishna, this conviction, firm, unshakable conviction that Krishna is my loving well-wisher. Loving well-wisher. And whatever is happening simply by Krishna's will. And let me just accept it lovingly. So then you transcend everything practically, not just the modes of nature, not just karma or kala, you transcend the modes of nature. Because you're operating on a platform of wanting to love and please Krishna, accepting everything that happens in your life as an act of God. Loving act of God. Loving. Happily you accept. You lost some money, fine. Krishna wanted to give it to someone more deserving. By the way, what I want, it's not money that I want Krishna, I want to serve. Like the residents of Ayodhya said, it's not Ayodhya, the riches of Ayodhya that we want to follow you. Our attraction is towards you, not these buildings and sapphires and gold and diamond that is there in this city. You are everything for us. Sir, Lord Rama had to actually resort to a trick to escape from them. They wouldn't have gone otherwise. They said, wherever you are, that is real Ayodhya. We want you. Same way, a devotee becomes attached to the mission of his guru, and everything else is of what can I say? Either if he can dovetail it, he dovetails it in Krishna's service, or he's not interested. So, ultimately, transcending would require either obedience, but transcending becomes perfect when there is love and faith. Initially, we will transcend out of obedience. No, I'm supposed to believe that this is not good for me. Whatever happened is good for me. Like that. So, there's some effort required. But a devotee eventually will spontaneously reciprocate with Krishna out of love and conviction that whatever he does is good. And Krishna has some plan. And let it manifest. And let me become instrument in Krishna's plan. That is true transcending. Then you're independent of time, kala, karma, relationships in the world. Your only relationship is with Krishna. That is the meaning of transcending. Your only relationship with Krishna, Krishna's mission, Krishna's goal. Not with anything else in this material world. Okay? Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Madhava, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai.
His Grace Varada Krishna Prabhu